Let me tell you about a woman named Evelyn, who was 72 years old, a retired librarian from Michigan. The kind of person who read everything, knew everything, and believed deeply that understanding was the first step toward any good decision. Evelyn had noticed over the past 2 years that she was waking up more tired than when she went to bed. Her muscles felt heavier in the morning than they used to. She was gaining a little weight around her middle despite not eating differently. And her memory, which had always been sharp, felt a little slower to retrieve things than it once had. Her doctor had run tests. Everything came back within normal ranges. Nothing was wrong. And yet something felt different. Something had changed. Evelyn did the things she always did when she wanted to understand something. She went looking for the research. And what she found astonished her, not because it was frightening, because it was fascinating, and because it explained with remarkable precision exactly what was happening inside her body every single night while she slept, or rather, what was no longer happening as efficiently as it once had. This video is what Evelyn found. My name is Dr. Franklin, and today I want to take you somewhere that most health conversations never go. Not into what you eat or what pills you take, but into the extraordinary biology of what happens inside your body during the 8 hours when you are lying still and unconscious and completely unaware of the work being done on your behalf. Because the science now shows us that sleep after 65 is not the same as sleep at 35. The same hours in bed produce a fundamentally different biological experience. And understanding the 5 things that change during your night, what they are, why they matter, and what the research says you can actually do to support them, may be the most important health conversation you have this year. Stay with me through all 5, because the 5th process is one that was not even fully understood by science until a landmark study published in Nature Communications in 2026. It involves your brain performing a kind of biological cleaning cycle that only happens during sleep, and the implications for dementia prevention are among the most significant findings in modern neuroscience. Drop a comment right now. Are you over 65? Do you wake up feeling genuinely rested? Or do you feel like sleep is not doing what it used to? I read every comment, and your answer helps me understand what to cover next. What happens at night number 5? Your muscles lose their primary repair window as deep sleep declines. Let me start here, because this one connects directly to something millions of seniors experience without ever knowing the biological reason: the gradual loss of muscle tone, the feeling of heaviness in the legs and arms in the morning, the difficulty maintaining strength despite staying reasonably active. The research now shows that a significant part of this story happens not in the gym or at the dinner table, but in the depth of your sleep. During deep sleep, specifically the stage called slow wave sleep or delta sleep, the pituitary gland releases the majority of the body's daily growth hormone. This is not a hormone associated only with childhood. In adults, growth hormone is the primary driver of muscle protein synthesis, the process by which your body repairs micro damage in muscle tissue from daily movement and rebuilds stronger fibers. It also regulates fat metabolism, particularly in the visceral area around the abdomen, and it plays a documented role in memory consolidation and cognitive function. Research from the University of Chicago. Medicine found that the proportion of slow-wave deep sleep decreases from nearly 20% of a normal night for adults under 25 to less than 5% for adults over 35 by age 65 and beyond. The second stage of sleep deterioration further compounds this. Growth hormone secretion during the night, which occurs almost exclusively during deep sleep, declines dramatically with age. NIH Endotext confirms that a decrease in nighttime growth hormone secretion in older adults is directly associated with reductions in lean body mass and muscle strength, increased body fat, particularly in the visceral compartment, decreased memory and cognitive function, and increased sleep disorders. Research published in PMC in 2025 confirmed the mechanism directly. During deep sleep, the body secretes growth hormone, which is essential for muscle protein synthesis and the maintenance of muscle mass. The same research noted that chronic sleep disturbances in elderly adults are linked to elevated levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, including interleukin-6, which accelerates muscle breakdown rather than repair. What this means in practical terms is that 2 seniors doing the same daily walk and eating the same amount of protein may experience very different muscle outcomes based purely on whether their deep sleep is intact or fragmented. The one getting quality deep sleep is rebuilding overnight. The one with disrupted sleep is not getting the same repair signal. What to do? Speak with your doctor if your sleep is consistently fragmented. If you wake multiple times each night, or if you feel unrefreshed despite adequate hours in bed, ask specifically whether a sleep evaluation is appropriate. Protecting the quality of your sleep, not just the quantity, is one of the most direct investments you can make in your muscle, health, and metabolic function after 65. What happens at night number 4? Your blood pressure is supposed to drop, and after 65, it often stops doing so. This one is extraordinary and almost completely unknown outside of cardiology research circles. Most people think of blood pressure as a daytime concern, something measured at a doctor's office, something addressed with lifestyle and when necessary with medical guidance. But the research shows that what your blood pressure does while you sleep may be one of the most important cardiovascular measurements of your life. And most seniors have never had it assessed. Under normal healthy physiology, blood pressure follows a circadian pattern. During the night, It drops by approximately 10 to 20% compared to daytime levels. This nighttime reduction is called the blood pressure dip, and it serves several critical functions. It gives the heart a period of reduced workload. It allows arterial walls to rest and recover. It reduces the mechanical stress on small blood vessels in the brain, kidneys, and eyes. Clinically, people whose blood pressure shows this healthy nighttime dip are called dippers. After the age of 65, a significant proportion of adults lose this normal dipping pattern. They become what the research calls non-dippers. Their blood pressure remains at near daytime levels throughout the night, or in some cases actually rises. This phenomenon is called nocturnal hypertension, and the cardiovascular research on its consequences is unambiguous. A study published in PMC in 2024 followed subjects over a 21-year period and found that a non-dipping blood pressure pattern is an independent predictor of cardiovascular events and mortality. The American Journal of Medicine 2023 review confirmed that a study of 70 participants found that individuals with isolated nocturnal hypertension had a significantly higher risk of total mortality and cardiovascular events compared to those with normal nighttime blood pressure pattern. The hazard ratio for adverse cardiovascular events was 1.38 and for overall mortality 1.29, even after full adjustment for other factors. Research published in Frontiers in Neurology confirmed that the presence of nocturnal non-dipping of blood pressure and heart rate is associated with an increased risk of silent stroke and small vessel disease in the brain. The reason non-dipping becomes more common after 65 is multifactorial. Autonomic nervous system function, which regulates the circadian blood pressure cycle, becomes less precise with aging. Sleep apnea, which is dramatically more prevalent in seniors, directly disrupts the nocturnal dip by causing repeated surges of stress hormones through the night. And certain common patterns of salt sensitivity and kidney function changes in older adults contribute to the loss of the normal nighttime pressure reduction. What to do? Standard blood pressure. Measurements taken at a doctor's office during the day cannot detect nocturnal hypertension. If you have high blood pressure, or if you have any of the risk factors discussed in this channel's previous videos, including sleep apnea or diabetes, ask your doctor specifically whether ambulatory blood pressure monitoring is appropriate for you. This is a test that measures blood pressure throughout a full 24-hour period, including during sleep. It is the only way to know whether your nighttime blood pressure is behaving as it should. What happens at night number 3? Your cortisol cycle shifts earlier, creating a stress chemistry window that affects memory, mood, and metabolism. Cortisol is most commonly known as the stress hormone, but that framing dramatically undersells its role in the body. Cortisol is the primary regulator of your body's circadian rhythm. It controls when you feel alert, when you feel tired, how your metabolism processes glucose, how your immune system activates, and how your memory consolidates information from the day. In healthy young adults, cortisol follows a reliable daily arc. It is lowest in the first half of the night, during the deep repair sleep described earlier. It begins rising in the very early morning hours and peaks shortly after waking, providing the biological alertness needed to start the day. After 65, this arc shifts. Research has consistently documented that in aging adults, the nocturnal cortisol rise begins earlier in the night, instead of staying suppressed through the deep sleep window and rising toward morning. Cortisol begins elevating in the middle of the night. This earlier cortisol rise does two things that directly affect quality of life. First, it truncates and fragments deep sleep by activating the brain's arousal system too early. Second, it creates a metabolic environment during sleep that promotes muscle breakdown rather than repair, increases blood sugar levels, and suppresses the immune repair activity that is supposed to peak during nighttime hours. Science Direct research on sleep and aging documented specifically that in aging adults, a decline in sleep continuity, decreased slow-wave sleep, and an earlier nocturnal cortisol rise all occur together as part of the same physiological shift. The earlier cortisol rise is both a consequence of reduced deep sleep and a further cause of it, creating a feedback loop that progressively worsens with age when not addressed. The practical consequence for seniors is that this shift in cortisol timing is a significant contributor to the middle of the night waking pattern that many adults over 65 experience. Waking between 2 and 4 in the morning and being unable to return to sleep is not simply a bladder issue or a noise issue. For many seniors, it is the cortisol rise arriving earlier than it should. What to do? Consistent sleep and wake times, avoiding bright light exposure in the evening, and keeping the bedroom environment cool and dark are the evidence-based behavioral approaches that help anchor the cortisol rhythm to its proper timing. If you are experiencing consistent middle of the night waking that significantly disrupts your sleep quality, discuss this specific pattern with your doctor. The cortisol shift is measurable and is an important conversation in the context of sleep quality, metabolic health, and cardiovascular risk. If you are still with me and finding this valuable, type the number 3 in the comments right now. It helps me understand who is watching and helps this information reach more seniors who need it. What happens at night number 2? Your immune system performs its most intensive repair work, and after 65, the timing becomes disrupted. This one is less understood by most people than almost anything else on this list, and it is one of the most biologically significant things that happens during your night. The immune system does not simply run at a constant level around the clock, it follows a precise circadian schedule. During the hours of nighttime sleep, particularly in the first half of the night, the immune system dramatically increases the production of cytokines, the signaling proteins that direct immune responses. It produces T cells, the specialized immune cells that identify and destroy damaged, infected, and potentially cancerous cells. It performs surveillance of the body's tissues for signs of cellular damage that need repair, and it consolidates immunological memory, the process by which your immune system remembers how to respond to threats it has encountered before. A 2023 review published in the International Journal of Clinical Practice confirmed that sleep disruption in older adults is associated with increased systemic inflammation, reduced immune surveillance efficiency, and impaired vaccine response. The same research noted that sleep fragmentation in seniors produces measurably elevated levels of inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, which are associated with accelerated aging of multiple organ systems. The critical point about aging is that the circadian coordination of immune function, just like the cortisol rhythm and the blood pressure dip, becomes less precise after 65. The immune repair window that should be concentrated in nighttime sleep becomes more diffuse, less efficient, and more easily disrupted by even mild sleep fragmentation. This is one of the reasons that seniors who experience chronic poor sleep show measurably higher rates of infection, slower wound healing, and reduced response to vaccinations compared to age-matched seniors with good sleep quality. There is also a connection to cancer risk worth understanding. The nighttime immune surveillance process, in which T cells patrol tissue for abnormal cells, is one of the body's primary mechanisms for identifying and eliminating early cellular changes before they progress. Research published in multiple peer-reviewed immunology journals has shown that chronic sleep disruption reduces the efficiency of the surveillance process in aging adults. What to do? Everything that protects the quality of your nighttime sleep directly supports your immune system's repair and surveillance work. Consistency of sleep timing, sleep environment quality, management of sleep apnea if present, and avoiding substances that fragment sleeps. Architecture are all evidence-based ways to protect this window. If you are experiencing frequent infections, slow healing, or simply feel that your immune resilience has declined, discuss your sleep quality with your physician as part of that conversation, not as a separate topic. What happens at night? Number 1. Your brain runs a biological cleaning cycle that only operates during sleep, and disrupting it may be the single most important modifiable factor in dementia risk. I told you at the beginning that this one was discovered and confirmed at a level that changes everything. We thought we knew, and I want to give you the full picture because the research is extraordinary. Your brain has no lymphatic system. Every other organ in your body uses the lymphatic network to drain waste products, metabolic byproducts, and toxic proteins away from tissue. The brain, protected behind the blood-brain barrier, cannot use that system. For decades, scientists did not fully understand how the brain cleared the metabolic waste it generated every waking hour. The answer, discovered and named in 2012 and confirmed in extraordinary detail in research published in Cell in January 2025 and in Nature Communications in 2026, is the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system is a brain-wide network of channels surrounding blood vessels, lined by specialized cells called astrocytes. During sleep, and almost exclusively during sleep, cerebrospinal fluid is pumped through these channels in a coordinated rhythm driven by slow oscillations in norepinephrine and synchronized changes in cerebral blood volume. This cerebrospinal fluid flow washes through brain tissue, collecting metabolic waste products, toxic proteins, and cellular debris, and flushing them out of the brain into the body's drainage system. The research published in Nature Communications in 2026, involving a randomized crossover trial with 39 participants, found that glymphatic clearance during normal sleep significantly increased morning plasma levels of Alzheimer's disease biomarkers compared to sleep deprivation. The interpretation is direct. During quality sleep, the brain was successfully exporting amyloid beta and tau proteins, the toxic deposits that are the defining pathology of Alzheimer's disease, into the bloodstream for clearance. During disrupted sleep, this clearance was significantly reduced. Research published in PMC in 2025 confirmed that acute sleep loss has been associated with greater cortical amyloid signal in cognitively normal adults. Fragmented sleep disrupts lymphatic function through impaired vascular dynamics and reduced fluid exchange, resulting in inefficient waste removal and retention of the neurotoxic proteins relevant to Alzheimer's pathophysiology. And here is the aging dimension that makes this so critical for seniors specifically. Research published in PubMed found that the glymphatic system's efficiency declines with age. The aquaporinophore water channels in the astrocyte cell that line the glymphatic pathways become disorganized with aging, reducing the efficiency of cerebrospinal fluid flow through brain tissue. This means that an older brain requires even higher quality sleep to achieve the same waste clearance that a younger brain accomplishes more easily. The 2025 Frontiers in Neuroscience review confirmed that the prevalence of insomnia ranges from 30 to 35% in adults generally and may increase to 75% in elderly populations, and that sleep disruption compromises lymphatic metabolic waste clearance, with the implication that a large proportion of seniors are accumulating brain waste protein night after night due to disrupted sleep, without any awareness that this is happening. Evelyn found this research at 2 in the morning during one of her middle of the night waking episodes. She printed it out and brought it to her doctor the next week. She asked for a sleep evaluation. She was diagnosed with mild obstructive sleep apnea and began treatment. Within 4 months, she told her physician that she felt sharper than she had in 2 years, more rested, more present in conversations. Her doctor said the most important thing Evelyn had done for her brain health that year was not a supplement or a diet or an exercise program. It was that 2 a.m. internet search that sent her to his office with a printed study in her hand. What to do if you do not feel genuinely rested when you wake, if you snore or have been told you stop breathing during sleep, if you wake repeatedly through the night, if your memory feels slower than it should, ask your doctor specifically about a sleep evaluation with attention to sleep apnea and sleep quality. Ask whether your sleep architecture is being assessed, not just your total hours, and understand that protecting the quality of your sleep after 65 is not a lifestyle preference. It is one of the most directly evidence-based things you can do for the health of your brain, your heart, your muscles, your immune system, and your blood pressure simultaneously every single night. If this video gave you something important to take into your week, please subscribe. I make videos like this every single week, evidence-based, honest, and built specifically for adults over 60 who deserve real information about their own bodies. And leave a comment below. Which of these 5 nighttime processes surprised you the most? Your answer might be exactly what someone else watching today needed to hear before their next doctor's appointment. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.